Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Josh Black, a senior concept artist at Stoke Games, and I also teach figure drawing here on my YouTube channel where I share process videos and free tips and advice on how I approach my figurative studies, including gesture, figure drawing, shading, and occasionally I'll share tips also on concept art and how to push caricature, proportions, and things like that. I also have my Proco and Gumroad tutorials where you can find my ebooks and brush packs and of course tutorials as well. With that said, today I wanted to do a quick morning exercise on gesture. I have these three wonderful poses here from Graphite Studios. If you haven't checked them out, you should. They have fantastic reference bundles at a really good price, very high quality images. You can see here I can zoom in quite a bit and the resolution holds up. It's just really nice material for doing your own figurative art and also great reference if you're doing concept or illustration or anything like that. Um, so yeah, I think we'll start off with this pose here, and I'm going to, as always, just do a few little warm-up doodles. I like to do this to warm up my wrist and my kind of hand-eye coordination, so I don't feel like I'm cold turkey approaching my gesture drawings. Do some circles, turn them into spheres, kind of add some topology to them. Have one overlapping, have the topology lines going different direction. Little tiny sphere, some rhythm lines. I think drawing these rhythm lines and arrows is really helpful. Throw on some lines that taper with each other. When I do these little warm-up sketches, I try to go over some of the fundamental design principles that I try to incorporate in my figure drawings, such as curves against straights, tapered lines, and offset curves, and also, repetitive repetition can also be kind of a design principle as well. Of course, big, medium, small, a very important design principle. Essentially anything that you can, where you can create contrast to help create movement in your composition. That's another one. So big, medium, small, and distancing. Distancing is huge, especially when you're doing landscapes. So for example, if I have this circle here, I'll do one off here to the right, and then to vary the distances, to have contrast in the distances, maybe this one overlaps. I could do one that's, so you're trying to create variation in the distances, and that's also very, very helpful for creating movement for the eye. Anyway, that said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to just save this real quick. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick gesture here. Start by blocking out the cranium, the simple sphere, establish the gesture of the sternocleidomastoid, and then the neck as it kind of leans forward. Establish the shoulder line, I'm just going to do a little dash for the pit of the neck, and then pull out the C curve of the torso, which gives the base, lead us down to the base of the crotch. I can already see the pelvis is kind of tilted in that direction, so it's contrasting the tilt of the shoulders. And we'll do a simple egg shape for the rib cage. And the gesture of the obliques. And let's go ahead and mark the navel. And I'm just going to do a simple tapered shape with overall gesture of the left leg. And then just do a simple wedge shape for the foot. Same thing for the right leg. Just a simple tapered shape to give me the overall flow and direction of the leg. Little dash for the base of the sternum. And I'm going to do a little spear just to indicate where the socket of the shoulder would be. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the gesture of the arm using those simple tapered lines. Make sure the base of the wrist is lining up with the base of the crotch. Block out this hand holding the pistol. Try blocking out the chest. Chest line. Indicate the base of the lower flank of the oblique. Block out the contour of the deltoid muscles. Just indicating the trigger finger. Core shadow. I think this is feeling pretty good as a starting point. Save it real quick. block out the gesture of the head here. Maybe we'll indicate the hair. These ponytails. And I'm going to try to indicate the abdominal shield. And now I'm going to separate the quads from the adductors. And let's get the tilt of the head. I'm going to do this kind of half ellipse, this half elliptical line kind of going through the brow line of the face. And then from there I can, oop, nose is a little too big. Just going to do like a little dash for the base of the nose. Roughly block in the shape of the mandible. So the head is just a hair too small. So I'm going to select it with my lasso tool and enlarge it just a little bit. There we go. It's difficult because this is slightly foreshortened. We have that arm behind, pulling that other pistol. Reestablishing the neck muscles, the sternocleidomastoid. Save this real quick and then we'll wrap this up and move on to the next. Just blocking out the knee there. Now I want to do this connecting line, connecting the knees together to make sure they're lined up. I think we're going to do a cleanup pass on this, just so I can show you um, what it looks like when we get rid of all these construction lines. Okay, yeah, I think this is pretty good for our initial gesture. But we're going to go ahead and go in and kind of clean this up just to make it a little more clear. But yeah, let's go ahead and save it, and then we can go in and kind of clean up the face, clean up the legs. But I think we captured most of the gesture and some of the motion. So um, yeah. Oh, we almost forgot about these ribs. All right, there we go. Just do a little platform for her to stand on. Maybe let's accentuate the midline just one more time. Okay, that should do it. Okay, um, do a quick cleanup pass on that, and then I think that might be it for this video. I'm trying to keep them short, and sometimes it's really hard to teach and draw at the same time, so these take a little bit longer than I expect. So perhaps we can finish those other gestures in the next video. Um, yeah, so I'll just clean this one up, and I'm going to do that by lightening or the opacity or lowering the opacity of this layer, and then just drawing on top of that, and that's what we'll go over next. With this cleanup, I am going to speed up the video and play some music on top of it so you can still watch my process. But after that, I want to go over what I did, and I'll try to articulate my thought process in cleaning up this gesture and where I'm finding some of the rhythms and flows of the figure, and maybe call out some of the anatomical landmarks, and then I think we can call it for this video after that. Okay, so I'm going to start cleaning this up, and I'll turn on the music. Okay, so we finished the cleanup here, and I wanted to just highlight a few of the rhythms that I really like to look out for, especially when doing a standing pose like this. Of course, we already went through kind of that C curve of the midline of the torso, and then there's this S curve here that kind of starts from the asis of the pelvis, cuts down through the gesture of the sartorius muscle that divides the adductors, and then flows in the shin, the bony plane of the shin that flows down into the medial side of the foot. And another good one is just kind of seeing that elongated S curve of the front of the leg. And you can kind of contrast that by just simplifying the backside with more of a straight. And, you know, if you have time, then you can kind of break up the anatomy on the backside. Same thing with this arm. Just keeping those simple tapered shapes for the initial lay-in, and then you can go back in and break up the contours and, you know, develop and flesh out the anatomy. And you know, these little kind of half ellipses that I do is really to show the tilt of that area, of that region. And so here I'm showing the tilt of the head. And I think it adds some nice energy and flair to the figure as well. Sorry, I'm speaking quietly. I'm trying not to wake up my kids and my wife. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, and I'm going to try to do more of these gestures to show you again my process. It's always a challenge talking and doing these at the same time, but hopefully you feel that I'm getting better at it, and I really aim to make these better with each video I do. So thanks for bearing with me and sticking to the end. As I said before, this reference is from Graphit Studios, and you can see here below they have their watermark and their website. I'll also leave that in the description of this video, so you can check it out if you want. And again, if you're interested in learning more about my process and how I approach figure drawing, human anatomy, and my kind of daily drawing routines, you can check out my tutorials on my Gumroad and also on my Proco, where you can find my ebooks, tutorials, and brush packs. With that said, thanks again so much for tuning in, and until the next time. Okay, bye.